Before I get into the review, I'd like to give a warning that this video contains spoilers for the anime arc by SMG4, as well as Meggy's Destiny. So if you haven't seen either of those two things and you plan on watching them, I recommend you click away immediately. Anyways, on to the review. Precisely a year ago, SMG4, the meme maker himself, created his first ever movie, Meggy's Destiny, and it was about Meggy entering the final Splatfest, and she hopes to win it so she can not only achieve her goal of winning Splatfest that she has dreamed of doing ever since she was introduced to the show, but also to keep her promise to her deceased former rival, Dusty, who was killed off in the anime arc by Francis. At the end of the anime arc, Meggy made a promise to Dusty that she would win Splatfest for them. So this movie's basically about Meggy keeping that promise. However, at the end of the anime arc, Meggy turned into a human since all of her ink was extracted from her body, so she must win Splatfest with her human body. Here's the summary of what happens in this movie. In the beginning, Meggy thinks back to when Dusty was killed, and she says that last year was rough, but this year belongs to her, and she is confident that she will win this year's Splatfest, which is, again, the last ever Splatfest. So, she, Mario, Luigi, and Tari start training the next day, and they are each given inventions by Professor Egad that all have the same abilities as an Inkling. Mario, Luigi, and Tari use their Ink Boys. Yeah, apparently that's what they're called. But Meggy refuses to use her Ink Boy because she thinks she can do it on her own. But when the training starts, since Meggy does not use her Ink Boy, she gets beat by Tari, much to Meggy's anger. Afterwards, everyone has a pre-competition party at Meggy's, and everyone is celebrating and having fun, except for Meggy, who is afraid that she won't be able to win the Splatfest and keep her promise to Dusty. She quickly settles down, though, and is once again confident to win, so she decides to have some fun with the rest of the gang for the rest of the night. The next day is the big day. Splatfest starts. Mario tells Meggy that now would be a good time to get out her Ink Boy, but she still refuses and still thinks she can win Splatfest without it. So when the challenges start, Meggy's not doing too shabby, but she almost loses when Team Killer Ink pushes her into the hole in the last match of the day, which the hole is what the contestants have to make it over to continue on. But Meggy gets saved by her friends, and so luckily she manages to continue on with Splatfest. After the competitions for the day are over, Meggy is fuming about how mean Team Killer Ink is to her, and so she decides to get some ice cream to calm her down, but she's unable to get ice cream since she is a human. In fact, pretty much everything in Inkopolis is restricted for humans, much to Meggy's sadness. Then Meggy starts having a vision where she talks to her Inkling self, Inkling Meggy, who tells human Meggy that she, human Meggy, only moved on in Splatfest because of her friends, and that she, the Inkling Meggy, would have jumped over the last obstacle no problem. Inkling Meggy tells human Meggy to use the Ink Boy, but Meggy still refuses. So Inkling Meggy leaves and tells human Meggy to suit herself if she doesn't care about winning. Human Meggy tells Inkling Meggy to come back, but it is then revealed that Meggy was just having a dream. The next day, Meggy throws her Ink Boy away and storms off, but Axel sees Meggy and is concerned about her. Meanwhile, Splatfest Day 2 has started and the teams will play Tower Defense. Team Killer Ink has already moved to the finals, and the 4 other teams will be competing in Tower Defense to make it to the finals. The first team to score 100 points in the match wins, and how the match works is that each team will be destroying clones of Squidward, and each time a Squidward clone is destroyed, whichever team destroyed that Squidward gets 1 point. But if your team gets splatted, you lose 10 points. The match is going great for Team Splat Squad. which, by the way, is Meggy's team. But at the end, the Ink Brigade gets more points than Team Splat Squad, which means that they get to move on to the finals, and not Team Splat Squad. Meggy immediately bursts into tears and believes that it's her fault that her team lost since she didn't use her ink boy, so she runs away crying. However, Mario senses something fishy going on. Back at Meggy's apartment, Meggy is sitting on the rooftop and she apologizes to Dusty for laying her down. But Axel arrives and tells Meggy not to be sad, and she tells Meggy to just use her ink boy and have fun. Also, Axel upgraded Inkweaver and made it like an ink boy. Meggy and Axel both start using their ink boys and writing down Meggy's apartment building and just having fun together, with Meggy saying that she missed what this felt like. Meanwhile, Mario, Luigi, and Tari are back at the tower defense arena because, again, Mario senses something fishy going on. Mario's looking around for something, and then he suddenly trips on a remote, and he, Luigi, and Tari all find out that the Ink Brigade cheated by defeating fake Squidwards. So Callie and Marie, the Splatfest hosts, show up to Meggy's apartment and tell her that she is back into Splatfest since the Ink Brigade cheated, much to Meggy's happiness that she still has one more chance. The next day, in the finals, the remaining two teams, Team Splat Squad and Team Killer Ink, are doing turf war, and Meggy finally uses her ink boy. In the last minute of the match, Meggy does spectacular, and as a result, at the end, guess who wins? That's right, Team Splat Squad. Yes, Meggy has finally won Splatfest. So back at Meggy's apartment, everyone is celebrating Meggy, Mario, Luigi, and Tari's victory. And Meggy thanks Axel for teaching her to be more selfless and just be herself. And then we have one heck of an emotional ending where Meggy is on the rooftop of her apartment again, and Dusty's spirit appears. She outright hugs Meggy and thanks her for keeping her promise to her, and she disappears, never to be seen again. Well, except for in the 2020 collab video that happened at the end of last year. And the movie ends with Meggy joining her friends in the party, happy that she has achieved her lifelong goal. Now, what do I think of this movie? It's a masterpiece. Best thing SMG4 has ever made. Better than all 4 SMG4 story arcs. Better than every episode. It's just phenomenal. The execution is perfect, the characters are great, the action is top-notch, the shots, and even the animation for Meggy are fantastic. And some of you might start grabbing your torches and pitchforks and start looking for me. But I think the ending to this movie is even more emotional than Toy Story 3's ending. I'm not pulling on your leg at all. I seriously want to cry whenever I see this ending. The emotional beats seriously hit me harder than a train here. Why? Because Meggy is like the most relatable animated character I've ever seen. She's that character who won't give up on her dreams and goals no matter what gets in her way, and I just love that. She seriously has a heart of gold. She's been wanting to win a Splatfest ever since people who watch SMG4 first laid eyes on her, and now, after over 2 years, she's finally done it. And I thought the anime arc's ending was emotional, but Meggy's Destiny's ending throws the anime arc's ending right out of the throne. How does Super Mario Glitchy 4 make me want to cry? Just how? Anyways, overall, this was the perfect wrap-up to the Splatoon adventures in SMG4, and this movie is not only one of my top 10 favorite movies of 2020, along with Sonic the Hedgehog, Onward, and Soul, but I'd say it is also one of my favorite movies, period. Yeah, I said it. This is a movie that I will for sure never forget. And that's it for my review on Meggy's Destiny. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. SonicFan91 out.